Hello everyone, we're here to talk about the hierarchy enhancements that are being made in Clarity 15.9.3. So in 15.9.3, the hierarchy has been enhanced to have the ability to automatically build hierarchy. We have now added the risk, issues, and changes modules in the blueprint, and we now support field level security for risk issues and changes data in the hierarchy. Why is this important? Customers that have started using Hierarchy have provided several feedback to us, and then based on those feedbacks, we've made the enhancements to Hierarchy where customers now have a way to automatically build Hierarchy. Customers have also asked for a central place to see risk issues and changes related to all the investments that are in their hierarchy. So now with the introduction of the risk issues and changes modules, they can easily see that for only the investments that are in their hierarchy. Talking about the how to automatically build hierarchy. In order to enable an automatically building of hierarchy, we have introduced a new EnterOnce flag in the investment object. This flag allows the users to populate the parent of a specific object instance. This flag or attribute called parent is available and will display all the investments across the different investment types. It'll display investments from custom investment types, ideas, and project. This attribute can be included in the grid layout or in the properties layout. The users can then populate the parent of a specific object instance. Once that relationship is established here, then the user can go into the hierarchy and there is a new option to auto import. That auto import will then build the hierarchy based on the value set in this parent attribute. Within the hierarchy, the context menu is updated to now include the auto import children as a menu option. So when you right mouse click on a specific investment in the hierarchy tree layout, you would see this new menu called Auto Import Children. This will then, based on the parent values setup, will automatically build the hierarchy, and you can see it in the hierarchy tree. Ability to import the children manually or auto populate, they both are available, so you don't have to now only use auto import. You can still import children's manually, in which case the functionality will continue to be the same as it does today. Auto import will only pull in investments that the user has access to see. If an investment already has children within the hierarchy and you're trying to do an auto import underneath it, we will display a warning message to the user asking them to confirm that if they're okay to remove all those children investments under that selected investment and repopulate it with how it is being defined using the parent lookup. We do display the toaster message with either the total number of children that were imported, or if a certain investment does not have any children, then we will display just no children to import. We are now introducing the risk, issues, and changes modules in the blueprint for hierarchy. These modules are available just like in other objects where you can include by dragging and dropping it into the hierarchy blueprint. You can either select just the any individual module, risk, issues, or changes, or all of them. The data then when displayed in this risk, issues, and changes is only for those investments that are included in the hierarchy. The risk issues and changes module uses cross-investment grid that displays the data respective to those RIC objects along with their parent investment name and ID. So there is a cross-investment grid where you can see the data from either the risk issues and changes or their investments or the hierarchy level that they're in. Risk issue changes modules have all the common grid functionality, and the modules now have the widgets that allow you to visualize the data. Review the introducing widgets to learn more about how to add, remove, and manage widgets. Editing of the risk issues and changes data is also possible. So within the same grid layout or in the flyout, you can make changes to the risk issues and changes. And as that change is made, the change is automatically reflected in the object. The risk issues and data cannot be edited in the grid, can only be edited in the flyout. I just wanted to clarify that you can make the changes, but only in the flyout, not in the grid. The changes made in the hierarchy is automatically reflected in the investments, and any field level security that is defined in RIC attribute will automatically be reflected in here, and the user will either be allowed or not allowed to make changes based on the field level security. So with that, let's jump into seeing hierarchy and its enhancements in action. So here I am in the modern UX, but first let's go ahead and look at the object definitions for what is available. In the object itself, when I go into the object definition, we are introducing a new flag called new in hierarchy. This new flag is available for custom investment types. So I'm going to go into my medical equipment, which is a custom investment. And in here, I see the new flag called include in hierarchies. Once this is checked, then this allows the data from this custom investment to be available in my hierarchy. Next, I'm going to go into my modern UX administration, and under the blueprint, I can see for my hierarchy the new risk issues and changes modules. And these can easily be added or removed as needed. These by default are not included, and the administrator has to add them manually for it to be available to their end users. Next, let's go look at the project grid layout. And in here, I am going to add the new parent attribute. So this is a new attribute that has been added in 15.9.3. This new parent attribute, once included in your view, you can specify which other investment is the parent of my current investment. So in this example, the mobile payment and the e-business mobile both have a parent of mobile commerce. So I can easily define the parent of any investment. This can be done for any object that can be included in the hierarchy. To define the value is as simple as just double clicking on the uh, and editing the parent value. We will then display all the investments that are available. Filtering is also available, that I can either filter for the investments, any specific investments. And based on how the lookup is configured, I can filter just by the name or the different values that I would want to include. So in my example, I am going to define a parent for the cloud computing, and its parent is going to be the security compliance. So now when I build a hierarchy and I do an auto import for security compliance, I should automatically pull in the cloud computing. So let's go ahead and look how the hierarchies will function with this new auto import. Let's go ahead and create a new hierarchy for FY 2021 planning. It's going to be of investments. Let's give it an ID. By default, there is no investment in here, and I'm going to import just one, which is going to be of my custom investment, and it's the patient billing. So I want to build my hierarchy for everything that is related to my IT inventory of patient billing system. So every project that I've done, every idea that I had, if I have defined its parent-child relationship, I want to automatically build this hierarchy. So let's go ahead and select just one. So I've included my patient billing system in my hierarchy. I can at this point do a right mouse click and say import children, and this would work exactly how it does today, which is I can select individual object and select the individual investments within those objects. Or I can say auto import children. By doing so, you would get the message, and the system is working behind the scenes checking for the patient billing system which all different investments have their parents been defined and that are underneath the patient billing. So as you can see, within seconds, 43 different investments got pulled in. Their hierarchy is all predefined with the children. So under the patient billing, let's zoom in a little bit. I can see the different parents. I can see the different children's, which is 4 specific children's for my patient billing, and then all of their children's and their grandchildren and so on. So the entire hierarchy is automatically built for me based on the parent value that I have set up. Now let's go ahead and make some more slight changes to it. So I am going to move one of my investments from one of their existing parent to some other parent within my hierarchy itself. So I'm going to move this lost device to be under my auto management system. So I've moved something that was inside of mobile security under the compliance security structure. And it's as simple as just drag and drop to populate that. I am going to also add another investment to my existing hierarchy. So basically what I'm showing is that I can manually edit around my different hierarchy after auto importing it. So in this case, it's going to import a new child under the mobile identity management, which is the cloud computing enhancement. So I've made some changes. After making all of these manual changes, now I realize, well, I didn't want to do all of those moving around. I want to rebuild it, but I don't want to rebuild my entire hierarchy. I just want to rebuild portions of it. And I can do that also. I'm going to do that by saying I am deleting everything inside compliance security because I've made too many changes. This is no longer how I want to see it or I want to capture the data. Let's just go ahead and select it and delete it. So I just selected it and I hit the delete key in my keyboard. I could have also done a right mouse key to delete the same. Once removed, there is no more children under the security compliance. Now I want to rebuild it based on how it is defined within the investment settings. And to do so, I can now do a right mouse click and just auto import. In this case, it'll only auto import under my compliance audit. Rest of it will remain the same. So I can start that. Also remember, I had taken one of the children, the lost device, I had moved it from mobile security to auto management. That relationship, because I did that and I moved it outside of this tree structure, is maintained. So that lost device continued to be under its new parent because that is where I moved it to, and it's not duplicated under the security compliance. Also, I had added the new child under mobile identity management. That is removed because that is no longer added. That is something, a change I had made within my hierarchy itself. If I try to import something under a child, under a parent that does not have any child, then we get a message saying there is no child to import. So it automatically tells you when there is something to import or not. Next, let's look at the new modules that have been added to the risk issues and changes. Now I could go ahead and make this all look nice, add my widgets, but to do that, instead of spending time on it, I'm going to go ahead and look at an existing hierarchy that's pre-built. So in my case, I have IT rollout, which has been predefined. I can see all the hierarchy and the investments that are pulled in. I can now go into the risk module, and under there, I have different saved views. I can see all the different investments, as well as I can see all the widgets that I can easily configure and see their data. The hierarchy, if I is using the cross investment, so by default, I can see the risk attributes as well as the investment attributes. Those are the two types of attributes that are available that I can see in here. I cannot edit it in the grid, but if I select a specific risk, open it in the flyout, here I can modify my risk. And as I'm doing so, you would notice that the widgets are also automatically getting reflected. So let's change another priority to medium. You would see that the priority now, it updated it. All the changes that I'm making in here is being reflected in the investment. And if I want, I can save this layout as a view, and I can then manage those views. So I can easily see what are the overdue risk for my investments included in my hierarchy. In this case, I have different layouts, and I can see by expanding or by grouping by investments. So compliance security has 2 investments that are overdue, that is waiting for somebody to act on, whereas the data security by BYOD has 1 overdue risk. I can go into issues and have the same capabilities available. I will not go through all the capability, but the same thing is available from a functionality. I have all the I have all the issue attributes available as well as the investment information. And then going to change, I have all the change attributes and the investment information. The last that I wanted to show is the field level security that will be respected for risk issues and changes. I will not cover all the details as to how to use a field level security. We have existing training modules for those. But in this case, I am just going to show the simple where I have For my change request, I have secured closure date. I've just set it as secure. That means nobody, because I've not assigned the edit or view access to anybody. So this should not be available to anybody. If I go into my hierarchy and go in to the changes of my hierarchy and try to include the closure date, I don't see the closure date to be included because it is field level secured. So I cannot include anything or edit anything because I do not have the edit rights to that field. That concludes the section talking about the enhancements to our hierarchy functionality in 15.9.3.